Hello students. In this video, we are going to learn the topic Nationalism in India, Standard 10th, and we'll cover the 7 subtopics. Subtopics are movement in the town, non-cooperation movement failed early in town, non-cooperation movement in GUDEM hills of Andhra Pradesh, Alluri, Sitaram, Raju, plantation workers and non-cooperation movement, Gandhiji withdraw the non-cooperation movement, and Simon Commission. So here we'll begin with our first topic, movement in town. In towns, movement started with middle class participation. Thousands of students left their government controlled school. Headmasters and teachers resigned. Lawyers gave up their legal practices. Foreign goods were boycotted. Foreign cloths were burned in huge bonfire. And liquor shop picketed. So this was the participation in the early towns from the people. But this non-cooperation movement was failed in early towns. What was the reason? Let's discuss. The first reason was khadi was much too expensive than the British produced milk cloth. Poor people couldn't afford to wear khadi because it was expensive. And for the movement to be successful, alternative Indian institution had to be there, which were not there in the sufficient number. And these were the reason that non-cooperation movement was failed early in town. Now, non-cooperation movement in GUDEM hills of Andhra Pradesh. Non-cooperation movement among the tribals started in the GUDEM hills of Andhra Pradesh. It started in the form of militant guerrilla movement. British had closed large area of forest land and preventing the tribal people to enter, because tribal people, they were totally dependent upon the forest, and Britishers, they closed large area of forest land and preventing the tribal people to enter. This caused a widespread anger among the tribals against the Britishers. And they thought it is not only considered as an attack on their livelihood, but it was an attack on their traditional birthright, and this is how they started supporting non-cooperation movement. Now the next part, it is connected with one famous person, Alluri Sitaram Raju. Why he was famous, why he was important in this non-cooperation movement? Let's look. Alluri Sitaram Raju was an interesting character. He had the non-cooperation movement among the tribals. Actually, he was the leader. And he claimed that he had a variety of spatial power. He could make correct astrological predictions. He could heal the people, and he could even survive bullet shots. That's why he was famous. And few more things about him. Raju was inspired by Mahatma Gandhi and non-cooperation movement. He persuaded the hill people to wear khadi and to give up their drinking practices. Means this is how he connected with non-cooperation movement and Gandhi. But at the same time, Raju believes that Swaraj could be achieved only through the use of violence. And at last, he was captured by the Britishers, executed, and overnight he became the folklore or folk hero in the people of GUDEM hills of Andhra Pradesh. Now let's shift it towards plantation worker and non-cooperation movement. In plantation worker, under the Inland Immigration Act of 1859, plantation workers were not allowed to leave the tea gardens without permission, and they were rarely given such kind of permission. When they heard of non-cooperation movement, they believed that Gandhi Raj was coming, and then everyone would be given land in their own villages. They defined the authorities and headed towards their home. Finally, they could never reach their home and they were brutally beaten up by police. Then later, Gandhiji withdrew the non-cooperation movement. Reasons are the movement was turning violent in many places. That was the best example, Chauri Chaura. After that, he totally believed that it should be called off. So, Gandhiji was a firm believer of peacefully opposing the British. And Gandhiji believed that the Satyagrahi need to be properly trained before they enter into mass struggles. And within the Congress, leaders were tried to avoid Gandhiji and to avoid mass struggle and wanted to participate in election. And this is how Gandhiji withdrew the non-cooperation movement. After this, our final topic, it is of Simon Commission. Simon Commission. It was formed by British government and it was sent to India in response to India's freedom struggle. It was called a statutory commission. Statutory means legally, with legal authority. Statutory commission sent by British under Sir John Simon. The main objective of Simon Commission was to review the constitutional system of India and suggest changes if required. This is how we completed the second part of history, nationalism in India.